My $5 fill-up will fill you up. Guaranteed. Isn't that right, Philip?
You know Kentucky Fried Chicken for their quirky commercials, their cheap deals, and especially fried chicken that's so good, it's finger-licking good. But before KFC was the world's second largest fast food chain, it was only a daydream to a man whose name was Harland Sanders. Harland Sanders was born September 9, 1890, on a little farm in Henryville, Indiana. His father died when he was 5 years old, and his mother took any work that was made available to her. This left young Harland to care for his two younger siblings. In 1902, Sanders' mother remarried to a man named William Broadus, and the family up and moved to Greenwood, Indiana. Harland and his stepfather had a very toxic relationship, and in 1903, he dropped out of the 7th grade, crediting algebra as the last straw. He then went to live and work on a farm nearby, but by the age of 14, Sanders made his way to southern Indiana to work as a farmhand. In October of 1906, at the age of 16, Sanders falsified his date of birth to enlist in the United States Army, and he completed his service commitment as a wagoner in Cuba before being honorably discharged in February of 1907. After being discharged, he moved to Sheffield, Alabama, where his uncle lived. While there, his uncle managed to get him a job with Southern Railway as a blacksmith's helper. After 2 months, he moved to Jasper, Alabama, where he got his own job cleaning ash pans of trains. Sanders then progressed to become a steam engine stoker, where he worked for nearly 3 years until being fired for insubordination while he was sick. While working on the railroad, Sanders met his first wife, Josephine King, and they were swiftly married on June 15, 1909, and would go on to have 3 children together. Later, he found work as a steam engine stoker on the Illinois Central Railroad, and he and his family moved to Jackson, Tennessee. At nights, Sanders studied law by correspondence through LaSalle Extension University. Unfortunately, he lost his job due to a brawl with a colleague. Sanders continued to study law for 3 years. However, his legal career didn't last long, as it ended due to a courtroom brawl with his own client that ruined his reputation. From 1910 to 1930, Sanders was unable to maintain steady work due to his temper, lack of self-control, and insubordination. In 1930, Sanders was offered a service station in North Corbin, Kentucky. Sanders began serving country ham, steaks, and chicken dishes. Initially, he served local customers before opening up a full restaurant. It was during this time period that Sanders was involved in a shootout with Matt Stewart, a local competitor who was painting over Sanders' signs that directed traffic to his location. Stewart killed a Shell employee that was with Sanders, which sent him to prison and wiped away all of Sanders' competition. In July 1939, Sanders acquired a motel in Asheville, North Carolina. His North Corbin location burnt to the ground in November of 1939, but he eventually rebuilt it to be a motel that could seat 140 guests. By July of 1940, he finally perfected his secret recipe for frying chicken quickly. As the United States entered World War II in December of 1941, gas was rationed and the tourism began to dry up. He soon was forced to sell his Asheville motel and began working within the restaurant business. Sanders believed that his North Corbin restaurant would remain successful indefinitely, but sold it after the new Interstate 75 reduced customer traffic. By 1952, Sanders was 65 years old and was living off of his monthly $105 Social Security check. Sanders then began to tour the country in his 1946 Ford, deciding to attempt to franchise his chicken concept. His first franchised KFC was in Salt Lake City, Utah in 1952, when his friend Peter Harmon became his first franchisee. Harmon owned the largest restaurant in the city and helped moniker the name Kentucky Fried Chicken because a product hailing from Kentucky was unique and evoked imagery of Southern hospitality. In the first year of selling the product, restaurant sales skyrocketed, with 75% of the increase coming from sales of the fried chicken. The franchise approach became highly successful, and KFC became one of the first fast food chains to expand internationally, opening outlets in Canada, the UK, Mexico, and Jamaica by the mid-1960s. Sanders obtained a patent protecting his method of pressure-frying chicken in 1962, and then trademarked the phrase, "It's finger-licking good," in 1963. The company's quick expansion to more than 600 locations became overwhelming for the elderly Colonel Sanders, and in 1964, at 73 years old, he sold the Kentucky Fried Chicken Corporation for $2 million, which would be $16.5 million today, to a partnership of Kentucky businessmen headed by John Y. Brown Jr. and Jack C. Massey. Sanders became a salaried brand ambassador and remained the company's symbol after selling it, traveling 200,000 miles a year on the company's behalf and filming many TV commercials and appearances. His influence was still within the executive decisions, as they respected his culinary arts and feared the animosity of his swearing when they veered away from what was deemed as the Colonel's chicken. Sanders was diagnosed with acute leukemia in June of 1980 and died at a Jewish hospital in Louisville, Kentucky of pneumonia on December 16, 1980, at the age of 90. Sanders had continued to remain active in his work until the month before his death, appearing to crowds in his famous white suit and black tie and swearing as only Colonel Sanders could do. For CVM 320, this is Megan Preston.